Hey guys, welcome to another Secure the Bag OT NRL Edition. On today's episode, we have our regular special guest, Locky and Luke, and we're going to be covering a bit about the mighty Storm, Manly crashing out of the finals, the prestigious Dally M medal, and the ever-controversial HIA and concussion rules. So to start off, I mean, boys, this grand final, who would have picked it? I mean,
definitely not me.
What happened to the Storm? Like, shit.
I have never seen a Melbourne Storm panic as much as I did watching that game. You know, it's a credit to Penrith. Their defense was amazing. And it probably one of the best semi-final prelim games I've seen in a long time. But yeah, no, Melbourne just, it's hard to say because, you know, they had all their players back. They had Munster, Addo-Carr, like they're a full strength. So I'm very confused as to see what went wrong for them. But yeah, amazing performance by Penrith. They really made me look like an idiot when I said that they were completely tired and ridden off. So thank God I'm not in the footy tipping.
I agree. I mean, like the Penrith's defense it's some of the best defense I've ever seen in the NRL. Like nothing was getting past them. And the Storm got kind of lucky with getting their tries. I mean, Penrith just looked so all over them every single tackle. And defense wins titles, right?
100%. 100%.
The Melbourne's defense has been good all year, but not to the extent of that Penrith one. And I mean, Melbourne have no problem outscoring anybody in the NRL. They're the most lethal team going forward. But yeah, the defense let them down this game. And
it's just simple errors.
They didn't look like they got out of third gear though. They look like they just didn't have that step to go. Luke, man, what do you reckon? Like that was rough.
Yeah, I think you got covered. I mean, that performance is, as Lockie said. I mean, mate, it was so just unconventional, Melbourne. It's just not what you expect from them. It's just turning over possession, dropping the ball, just like all that going on. And I mean, and Penrith brought it to them, but I remember a couple, when you talk about the Penrith defence, I haven't seen goal line defence like that. I remember a couple, I think it was down the left and Justin Olam was through, and no one stops Justin Olam when he's in between 10 minutes and one, but they managed to. And there was one, I remember, Matt Burton. I forgot someone down that right side. And then he just got there, and then he was over the line. Matt Burton pulls him back and cleans him up and drags him back. Like no one does that. That's just that fight. And playing like that, Melbourne weren't good, but Penrith playing like that deserved to be in the grand final because that's the fight and the determination that win championships for teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and as I said before, defense wins titles. Melbourne, I think, after seeing how Penrith played in the finals over the last few weeks, I reckon Melbourne thought it was going to be pretty cruisy.
Yeah, I agree. I think they really missed Cameron Smith too. You know, I feel like they missed that voice, and like Cameron Smith, he brought so much leadership, and you know, unfortunately, it's meant that players like Cam Munster and Brandon Smith and Dale Finucane, and don't get me wrong, Dale Finucane's been amazing for them all year, but I just feel like if they did have Cameron Smith, it wouldn't have been that scoreline. Again, still very close, very cracking game. But yeah, they'll learn from this.
It's interesting you make that point because just on a couple of things with that, sorry, Anthony, it was just on that. I just think that you mentioned, I mean, with Cameron Smith, I mean, you got to remember that they lost Christian Welch and Brandon Smith very early in that game. And if you boys go back to Origin 1, when Welch went out for Queensland, that's when New South Wales started to dominate. I think Welch was a big part of that team. So I think, as we've always said on here, that it's unfair to have Harry Grant and Brandon Smith in the same team because they're both not just NRL quality, but elite NRL players. Yeah. But I think that kind of threw their rotation out. And then, like, you know, Big Nelson and Tui and that had to play bigger minutes than they normally do. And I think that tired them out at the end.
Yeah, they have the depth.
You could see that they were tired, right? Like, again, and you touched on it before, the drop balls and the errors and the knock on. It was rough. It was like watching the bloody Tigers play. It was rough.
Oh,
it's true though.
Oh, that's
They didn't let in a lot of points, right?
No.
But they were easy goals to concede. And it was their own fault. It was their own fault. I mean, and Penrith deserve that grand final spot. I mean, as entertaining as it is to watch Melbourne in the grand final every year, I mean, Penrith really, really bloody deserve it. And I think, I mean, we'll touch on it a bit later. I think Penrith, Bunnies will struggle to get a try against Penrith, I reckon.
That's a big call. It's a very big call.
I can't. Bunnies don't have the same attacking prowess that Storm do, by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
Alex Johnson isn't the be all or end all. Like people, he's not as good as everyone raves him up to be.
I think
not against that Penrith defense, man.
I think the Bunnies just need to do what worked for them last time, which was a lot of work from their forwards. Their forwards dominated the Penrith forwards when they played. Was it second week of the semis? Yeah. Yep. So they just got to do what works best for them. And Cody Walker and Reynolds are playing amazing football at the moment. And you've got Blake Taff, who just needs to be Blake Taff and not overplay his hand. And I can really see the Bunnies doing some damage. And there's so much hype behind Wayne Bennett's last game and Reynolds' last game as a Rabbitoh. So I think it'll be very. It will. It definitely will.
It'll be a good send-off. I mean, that being said, I wouldn't have picked Bunnies to be in the grand final at all. At all.
I don't think any of us did.
No. I mean,
not
Manly.
when Latrell went out.
No
way.
What happened to Manly? Like, this has got to be one of the biggest upsets in NRL for years, right? These two teams, nobody could have picked that at the start of the finals. Nobody could have picked that last week. Right, everyone was.
I was disappointed.
I know.
Yeah, very disappointed. We
were all dead set on a. I'm not. I can't remember about you, Luke, but I know I was dead set on a Manly Storm final again.
Yeah, I thought Manly would get there.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to them? I know Pierce, brought a good point up just before offline that the Manly were the pretenders of the final series, and I can kind of see that.
I do. I do think there were times when Manly played really well. I remember they I think it was like maybe the second last round of the regular season when they versed Melbourne, and they were really stretching them out, and they were really threatening the Melbourne Storm. And then first week of the finals against Melbourne, they just there was just so much fumbling, and they stopped Tommy. And I feel like when they stopped Tommy, if you stop Tommy, you stop Manly.
Correct.
Saying that, they've got a lot of strike around the park, and I do feel like there is a lot of pressure because they have. If you consider last year, they ran for I think it was like 13th last year, and the year before that they made the prelims and bailed out. So it's a classic example of getting to those matches and not going that next level up. And I feel like even Daly Cherry Evans, very disappointing, especially being the captain. I was very disappointed with his performance.
He doesn't look like he does well in the huge games. I mean, looking at an Origin level, he's never really performed for Queensland. Doesn't perform well for Australia when he's in there. Like he struggles, right?
And if they were picking the Kangaroos team, he wouldn't be getting picked. He wouldn't be getting picked in the Australian team.
Not when you got the likes of Cleary and Munster.
Luai.
But you got to remember it's coached by a Queenslander.
Yeah,
That's true. I don't even think he bloody rates.
That is very true,
mate. I'm a Queenslander.
Of course he does. He's rated Cherry for years.
I don't even rate Cherry.
Yeah.
So I mean, Manly. I was shocked. Honestly, I was just shocked. Like, they played really poorly, and they would have lost that grand final really badly if they had choked their way in there.
Yeah,
a couple of tries didn't go their way. Granted, there were a couple of one obstruction that probably wasn't an obstruction.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't really think it was an obstruction, but it didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, it didn't matter. No, that's right. But
they got a try at the end, but didn't they pick up a try in the last few minutes?
They got a
Yeah,
couple. They got a couple late. I think 2 tries late. But I mean, they had because I mean, the thing is, it was nil. I can't remember the exact score, but half time. Then Garrick scored in that left corner a couple of minutes in the second half, and we thought we're on here. You know, they've just scored, and if they can start to build momentum. But I think Ryan Girdler summed it up pretty well when he said Manly were flat track bullies. So it's a cricket term, but what it basically means is they basically beat everyone they're meant to beat. But then when they get someone harder, they struggle. And I think that sums up Manly pretty well. Even if you go back to the first week when they lost to Melbourne, I just think Manly were at that level, and we have the tier level. I don't think Manly can beat the teams that are better than them.
No, I agree with that. I think that I reckon that Manly went in with the same mentality as Storm did, that they're going to walk through this game easy as anything. Right? Again, the media had them winning. We had them winning. Not that we're as big as the media. We're bigger. But everybody had them winning. And I think that got to them a little bit. I reckon it got to them a little bit. But they probably had the mentality, we've got Tommy Turbo. Nothing can stop us.
Yeah.
And clearly,
it's not a good mentality.
Else can. That being said, Tommy Turbo didn't win. Sorry, Tommy Turbo beat Cleary to the Dally M. I mean,
it's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was watching it. I couldn't believe it. Listening to some of them talk about it, I was like, surely, Nathan Cleary's performances over the last, since he came back from injury have been amazing. Yeah. And then Tommy got injured last week, final week against the Bulldogs, I think it was, or was it Bulldogs? And
he played the week before he was out. Played last.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm like, surely that's not going to play in his favour. Good on Tommy. He's been one of those players who just, fantastic. Again, he reminds me a lot of Jared Hayne and what he did back in State of Origin for New South Wales. I was
just going to say, I think his State of Origin performances really helped him. Cleary was out for quite a few weeks with that injury. I want to say it was his knee. I can't remember. But he was out for quite a few weeks.
Shoulder. Actually, no, it was shoulder.
Shoulder,
yeah.
He was out. That kind of helped him, but I don't think. Look, Tommy's great, right? He scores important goals, but on the ball, Cleary is just one of the most natural ball players and kickers, especially that I've ever seen. I'm kind of shocked he didn't win. Like, I understand, like Tedesco was in the running as well, but for the Melbourne Storm to not have a single player in that final 5. That blows my fucking mind.
They had too many dramas off the field.
It's not that. Well, I mean, they had the longest running streak in history.
Yeah.
Longest running.
But I think when you think with Melbourne, I mean, you talk about the Melbourne players. With Manly, you think Tommy. With South, you think Latrell. With Melbourne, it's Munster, it's Pappenhausen, it's Smith, it's Grant. There's multiple people, so they all take votes off each other, which is why the Dally M system is a bit flawed in the way. And the way
it is,
I think the best way to do it, and Tommy won this as well, is the Players' Player Award, where the players vote for the best player. Because the players know, if you play them every week, you know who's good. You don't need a voting system 3, 2, 1 after every game to decide that.
Absolutely. I mean, but for someone like Justin Olam to not get in that top 5 at least, probably shouldn't have won it. But for him to not even be in the top 5 is just, it does blow my mind a lot. I actually think I read something, Cameron Smith said it, and it's just, and he was talking about how no South players got in, and it really blows my mind. How do you have a top 5 with a team? How do you have a top 5 players in the league with a team that did nothing? That did probably something that a team will never do again. The amount of games that they went unbeaten was unbelievable.
20 straight, wasn't it? 20 straight?
Something like that. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right? And to have all your players omitted from the top 5 players in the league is unbelievable.
Yeah.
All credit to Tommy. All credit to Tommy. Like, he played well, and no doubt he was a standout performer in the Origin series, and he'll probably do well for Australia. But, man, again, over Cleary, probably not.
As well, Cody Walker as well. I was very surprised. I was, expecting him to make a a step for the Dally M's as well, considering how well he's been playing this year. I reckon this has been his best season yet, Cody Walker.
I can see that one
his try assist down that left side, he was lethal.
Absolutely lethal in try assist. He's been amazing. But well deserved by Tommy.
Yeah, credit where credit's due. I mean, it was either him or Cleary.
Oh, that's what it was between. Yeah.
And again, it was a fine-tooth comb. I think the points were really close, wasn't it?
Oh, heaps close,
yeah. It was about 2 points, 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
But also, you got to remember with Tommy, he only played 15 games. If he played a full season, you got to remember that. He would have blown it up. Like
but Cleary was injured too.
It's just insane.
Yeah. Cleary was injured as well, though. But
no matter where you look at it, it would have been very, very close between those two, regardless whether they were injured or not. I feel.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll move straight on to the next topic before we get into our grand final discussion. I know, Locky, you had quite a bit to say on this. The HIA and concussion rules,
bloody ridiculous
controversies regarding that. I mean, have your word. Say your
perception. Yeah. So it started last week. When it was the Penrith v Parramatta, where the trainer, who actually wasn't on the field and actually didn't make an assessment, it was actually the Parramatta trainers who actually assessed Mitch Kenny, who was laying on the ground motionless. And Parramatta were on the charge, and they were making a real charge to seal the game up. And the Penrith trainer obviously got suspended, and Penrith were charged a lot of money. I do feel like if they want to take concussion seriously, and if they want to actually say that, the reason they brought the crackdown was because of concussion. We've had 3 really experienced representatives in Jake Friend, Boyd Cordner, Luke Keary, I know he hasn't retired, but who have suffered from concussion. And, if you want to take it seriously, then you should be taking people off straight away if there's even a sign of concussion. Happened with Nathan Cleary. He literally dropped to his knees. And the rules for a concussion is, if you are confused on the field, if you show any sign that you're concussed, you have to come off straight away. Granted, at the end of the day, and it was at the point where Melbourne were actually starting to get a lot of momentum too. So I don't know where you guys sit on it, but I feel like the league really needs to look at it next year and go, what is a HIA? When a player is showing clear signs that they are concussed, what are the protocols for that? Because the protocols have always been, if you show any signs that you're concussed, you have to come off straight away. Okay, you don't stop the game just because someone's fallen over. The reason you stop the game is if someone's got a broken ankle or a fractured this or a fractured eye socket, like Joey Manu against the Bunnies. So, but interested to see what you guys think of it.
I think the HIA rule, it's a good point, but I think it's pretty simple, the HIA rule. I mean, a lot of people go, the thing about the HIA rule that I never understood, and it happened on the weekends when you had people like Christian Welch. I mean, the HIA, so it was first set of the game, I think first or second tackle really early. He stayed on for about 3 or 4 minutes before he was
6 minutes. Why? 6 minutes,
But why though? Because if the incident is bad enough to stop the game, at a minimum, he needs to go off the field. At a minimum. And when you talk about the rules used to be, if you get up and then you stagger, you can't come back even if you pass the test. But now I don't think they can. And another thing with the HIA that I still can't believe they haven't done, independent doctors. Because let's be honest, 15 minutes to go, Cleary goes off. The doctor's throwing you back on. And I know it's the best interest and all that other crap and everything you got to worry about. But at the end of the day, they work for the club and they want the club to win. That's why you need independent NRL authority doctors that are saying, no, you need to come off. I can't believe it's this big of an issue.
I agree. I mean, like you look at, you touched on Boyd Cordner. His career's ended because of concussion.
Yeah, because of concussion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, he was Australian captain, wasn't he?
Yep, Australian, New South Wales.
Australian captain and New South Wales captain. Right?
Yeah.
His whole career is over because of concussions, right?
Mm.
That's ridiculous. And the point about having independent doctors is really interesting as well. Why can they have, if you're having club appointed doctors perform a HIA, why can you not have a club appointed person looking over video ref? Or why can you not have a club appointed person in the bunker, right? It's the same principle. It helps and it hurts the team.
It is.
It helps and it hurts the team, right? It's really interesting. You need a new NRL appointed doctor, and you are having HIAs more than one time a game. Every single game, you see at least
multiple, 4 or 5 a game at least.
Yeah, at a minimum, right? At a minimum. So they're doing just as much, if not more, work than the bunker, and the refs on field nearly, and it's more crucial. So I agree. I think NRL should really appoint their own, but there needs to be clear rules, right? I know that they're simple, but they need to be clearer, right? You can't say because the rule is, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, if you stay down for more than a few seconds, you have to get a HIA. I can't remember exactly.
You have to get assessed. You have to get assessed.
Assessed, yeah. I'm not sure how many seconds it is, but you have to get assessed, right? That can't be a rule, because I see players laying down, and again, if it's an important play, if Munster was to go down, or if Clear was to go down for more than a few seconds, and he pops back up and has a spring in his step, he's not getting assessed. It's just not happening.
Well,
Luai should be a clear rule.
That's what I was going to say.
Luai shouldn't have come back on. Munster hit him on the back of the head, and he came back on. You know, he went off for his HIA assessment, and he came back on. And they actually reported him after, and he said he backtracked his words and said, "Oh no, I was all good to come on," even though he was laying on the ground, appealing for a penalty, went off. So yeah, they have to be more clear with these rules, because the players are confused.
A set of rules. Exactly, they need to define a set of rules, and they need to get independence in. I think they're both really good points, actually. So, anyway, we could talk about this for hours, but we do obviously need to talk about the elephant in the room, or maybe the rabbit in the room, the grand final.
Oh, yeah,
the grand final.
I didn't know where you were going with that with the elephant. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm not going to put myself down that much. Come on. Grand final though. What do we think is going to happen? Who do we think is going to win? Right? Panthers, right?
Look, sure. I thought that. I did. I honestly, and Penrith have been in this exact same experience last year. They've been to a grand final. That's where their hunger is going to be. They've been to this stage before. Big out for Tavita Pangai. I feel like that's a big out for them. Again, they've got the forward strike to be able to cover it, but I feel like he has really added another dimension to that forward pack for Penrith. I think it's going to be a battle of the halves. Whoever can game manage the best will be able to get their team to victory. So if it's Reynolds has one of the best 40-20 kicking games in the league. I can just imagine it being in Golden Point. Rabbitohs get the ball back. Reynolds kicking a 40-20, they slot a field goal. That's the kind of, it's going to be one of those games where it's going to go right down to the wire. So yeah, I do predict a Bunnies 2-point field goal. So Bunnies will win the premiership. Yeah, I want that for Souths, also because Adam Reynolds is coming to the club next year. I want him to be a premiership winning half. There's just so much riding behind Souths, and I can really see them doing some damage with Reynolds, Walker, Taff. I love every time he gets the ball. He looks so threatening. He's not the same fullback that Latrell is, but he's something else, and we'll see him in another number 7 next year for Souths, I reckon. So yeah, Bunnies to win the premiership.
Luke, thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's good points. I'm actually going on the other way. I'm thinking Penrith. The only reason why is a couple of reasons. One's the defence, as we said. I don't think Souths have got that attack with that left-hand side, the Walker and Reynolds. and Taff as well. We did a couple of nice sweep plays in the last game against Manly, but I just think Penrith will be too strong. When you talk about Reynolds with his kicking game, I think Cleary's kicking game's better. I mean, that spiral bomb and that torque bomb that he hits consistently, like Taff's a less than 10 game rookie, he's not catching that. He's not catching that in the grand final. Let's be honest. Got to remember that. Penrith, and I always believe with the grand final, Souths have won one. Souths have won one, yeah, but their team's a lot different. They're like John Sutton was their captain, and they're like Jason Clark and all those old guys. They're all good. I think Penrith last year, I think, there's a sour taste still in their mouth. I think they'll be better. Like I always think you got to lose one to win one. So yeah, I think Penrith will win. I think it'll be low scoring, but I think that'll suit Penrith. If Penrith start like they did against Melbourne and get that try early, I think that'll rattle Souths, because the more open it is, the more it suits Souths. But I think, low scoring, Penrith probably about 6 or 8 points.
I can see that happening. It's definitely going to be low scoring, right? And I agree with you. I think Cleary is probably the best kicker in the league, and I think it's like a huge jump between Cleary and anyone else. I just the consistency of Cleary's kicks. Yeah, I haven't seen a kicker kick that consistently in years and years and years, right? And that bomb is going to hurt Souths. They're not catching it every single time, not in the grand final. They're going to pull a Ben Hunt.
Don't say that. Don't say
they're not
that.
going to do that.
Thanks for reminding me about that.
But again, it's not the first time Souths have kicked a 2-point field goal this season. So could happen,
and Penrith as well have done it.
That's true. Penrith have done it as well. I think Penrith are all over this though. If they get that, Cleary's good at. I think the way I view Cleary is right. He's good at experimenting in the middle of games. So I think what's going to happen, if Penrith get that early goal, they're allowed to settle back. Their defense can kind of settle down. South will start going for crazy plays, and they're going to try and push to get that equalising try. I think if Penrith get that early try, their defense can relax until it's really needed. Because Souths will just get frustrated and try and keep dropping the ball, because we've seen it happen before the season. They'll start to get anxious. And I think Penrith are just going to wipe the floor with them. They'll capitalise on those mistakes, because they've got quick players on the wing. They can break really quickly. Or Cleary will put in a cheeky chip and chase or something like that, and then they'll just be all over Souths. And if it gets to 2 tries, it's all over. It's all over.
I hope you guys are wrong. I hope you guys are wrong.
I hope I do too. But Luke, you also made a good point about last year. And you do have to lose one to win one. I think the thing that hurt Penrith most last year, I think, was lack of experience. I don't think Cleary knew how to play in those big games. Yeah, there's Origin, but this is kind of different, right? You've got 3 tries at Origin. You got 3 attempts. Cleary didn't, but you usually have 3 attempts. And I think in this big game, a lot of those South players haven't played in a grand final, right?
4. They've got 4 players. 4 players who played in the grand final.
Yeah, Penrith have nearly their entire starting team.
11. I'm sure.
So that experience is going to serve them really well, I think. Nathan Cleary is going to be more comfortable. He's going to be able to settle down a little bit. He's not going to make stupid errors. I think Penrith have got this pretty comfortably. Low scoring, but I think they're going to probably win maybe 16, maybe 18-6. I think Cleary will probably miss a kick. But, I mean, So score predictions, I'm going 16-6. Pierce, what's your score prediction?
That's all right. Yeah. So 12-10, 2-point field goal for Reynolds to finalise his last game as a Bunny.
Okay.
Yeah, I got Penrith 14-6.
14-6. Okay. I think that'll do
2
us,
tries and a penalty goal.
2 tries and a penalty goal. No, that's fair. I can see that happening, actually. I know South's going to crumble. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody watching on YouTube. Be sure to check out our Spotify and Apple podcast links in the description below. Make sure to like and subscribe. and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys, for joining.
Thanks,
See you
boys.